Welcome to the podcast. Súbele volumen. Conversation with the people who were with me. In the world TV. Carlos tonight. Historias de un reportero. Carlos tonight. Dale que viene lo bueno.
Hey everybody, this is Carlos Tonight, and we're talking about fashion and finding your own personal style. I'm very excited to introduce you to my guest this week. She's a visibility coach and the director of style and design at Fashion Your Life, helping people feel more comfortable and confident while sticking to their authentic self. Andrea Cameron, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
There
Thank
you
you
are.
for having me. Here I am.
Cool. First, how's it going? How are you?
Good. It's always such a loaded question, hey?
Right? There's so much going on in the world.
So much going on, but I'm keeping my head above water and feeling good about the future.
Great. That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah.
So first things first, let's chat about the company. How
Yes.
did you come up with the idea, and how has it been so far? And we're talking about Fashion Your Life as your company.
Yes, Fashion Your Life. The idea, well, I come from the fashion industry, so my background is in design and development and production, and I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So when I finally took that step and started my business, it was advised to start with something I knew really well. So I started with the styling piece, and it has been 6 years. There was about a 2-year period where it was on the shelf, and then I brought it back, and ultimately it's now what it was originally supposed to be, which is a much more holistic picture of people finding their authentic expression of self and their style, their through line. So all of my offerings are based around that. So it's not just about fashion and style. That's a key piece to it, but it's not the only thing.
Gotcha. So I knew the very moment that I wanted to be a broadcast journalist, and I remember, sitting in the living room with my family watching the news, and all I could see is like the set and the lights and all that stuff. And I knew that I wanted to be part of it. My question to you is, what was the moment that you figured out that fashion was something that you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, it was, so I said, I'm sewing since I was old enough to hold a needle and shopping since I was old enough to walk, quite literally.
Wow.
So my mother used to have to go and find me after school at 5 years old because I would wander into our one little downtown street window shopping, and she would have to come find me. So I was born with it, but and then I really just took up it was my creative expression, it was my creative outlet. So any kind of sewing or creative thing where I could use my hands and create something for myself or for somebody else, I did it. And my grandmother was the person who taught me how to sew, knit, crochet, all of those things. So that's where it came from. And then I remember it was when I was 15, and it was a decision between fashion or psychology. And I just didn't want to go to university for 4 years for psychology. And I've had a full circle moment with that. Like, my clients have reflected back to me that what I do with them isn't just fashion. There's so much psychology involved with showing up and how we present ourselves. So I chose the fashion route and then got to that full circle eventually.
Wow. It's funny that you said that earlier about your mom trying to find you. Because when I was a kid growing up in Chicago, all the neighborhood kids were looking for me, trying to like, hey, where are you? We want to play. And I was like inside watching the news like a nerd.
Yeah, that's a good indicator of what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. All right. So there are times in our lives when someone can say or do something that reshapes our lives. And it seems you're doing that right now for a lot of people, as you mentioned. How does it feel working with someone who may be lost and now you've helped them find their way?
Oh, yeah. For me, it's really when I see people settle into themselves, like they literally physically go, oh, like there's a moment where, and those moments happen multiple times because often there's layers. But that is, some people, coaches work with people and they say they love those aha moments.
Mhm.
For me, the aha moments are when I see people physically relax into themselves. And typically the people who work with me know who they are. It's not a question of them knowing who they are. It's they maybe don't quite know how they fit in, or they don't quite know how to express it, right? It's there, but it's like, okay, let's just gently pull that out of you and help you see it so that you can practice that.
Yeah. That's cool, because sometimes when I work with people, like a personal trainer, I always think about like what they're thinking about when they see me, change. And so
Yeah.
it's cool to know that. Tell me about the ways that you help everyday people express their most authentic self.
Mm. The biggest thing is I always encourage people to play and experiment, because there's so many different ways we can express ourselves that it's ultimately about trying new things, putting ourselves out there, experimenting and playing to find what feels good and what doesn't. And you don't know until you try something. Often it's something that we think we would never do or enjoy. And then when we try it, it's like, oh, I actually really like that. That really works.
Yeah.
So in that, like, it gets the creative juices flowing and you start to find pieces of yourself that maybe weren't as obvious before.
Makes sense.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Experimenting, absolutely experimenting. So I remind people of that all the time. It's like, it's okay.
Not clothes related, but a couple of months ago, I was like, what do you think if I should grow a beard? What would that look like? And I did, and I like it, and people like it, and I feel like cool. So
Exactly. And that's all part of your image.
yeah.
So it's part of it is clothes. That's why I said, like, it's one of the pieces. And our clothing is the easiest place to experiment because we have to wear clothes every day
Right.
for the most part.
Right.
And so is like facial hair or how you wear your hair or makeup or any of those things. How you do video, right? How you speak on video, how you use your voice, how you move about your day. All of these things are places you can play with.
And a lot of people are not going to like when they see you change,
No.
but it shouldn't matter. Why do you think being our authentic self is so important?
Mm. Mm. It is important because we all have something unique about ourselves. We all have, and that is what happened?
Okay. I was just
Oh, okay.
tricking you.
Woo, woo. So it's really important to be authentic because we all have something unique about ourselves. And I actually believe that that is a gift. So when we're actually able to share that with the rest of the world, it literally is what will change the world. So when we're able to express that uniqueness, that is authentic. And it's a gift to the other people. Like you said, people often don't like it when we change. Absolutely. Because we've taught people what to expect of us or how to respond to us, right? We're in different dynamics. And when we change, humans in general don't like change. So when somebody else sees us change, it's like, whoa, wait, I can't, this doesn't work the same way that I'm used to. I don't know what to do anymore, or I'm not getting what I want anymore. And that's okay, because you being your most authentic self and really stepping into that does a greater service. That relationship might change. Can't say exactly how it would change. It's different for everybody, but you will find new relationships, and existing relationships will evolve as you change.
Right. So when I was younger, I would always like try to find the latest trend, like a jacket or shirt or shoes, so that I feel like I was fitting in.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I really don't care. Like I'll wear like sweats or
Yay.
something, right? Why do you think fashion dictates the way we live?
Yeah, this is a big, big key piece because I'm not a trend follower, and it's all about finding your unique style. So why fashion dictates it is mostly has to do with supply and demand, and they want you to buy more. They want you to keep buying, right? They
Mhm.
don't fashion as an industry doesn't want you to think for yourself and doesn't want you to understand your style, because if you do, then you're not going to buy as much. You're not going to be, as I say, confused, frustrated, and overwhelmed.
Yeah,
Uh, right? Because if you're not buying into the trends, if you actually know your own style and you're only buying when you need to and when it makes sense, then you're not buying as much.
yeah,
And they don't want that. Like,
yeah,
the industry wants you to buy more because then it makes more sales.
exactly. Oh wow. I'm talking with Andrea Cameron of Fashion Your Life. What does wearing the same type of clothing or maybe the same type of color say about your personality or maybe the way you live?
Yeah, color psychology, and this goes into, like you said, the it could be the silhouette, it could be the fabric, it could be any number of things. So all these pieces are what make up your unique style. Color is the easiest way to explain it because it is the most visible thing. So color, my main color is red. I love wearing red. Not everybody can wear red. Some people think they can't wear red. Rather, correction. Some people
Mhm,
think they can't wear red. Everybody can wear red. It just depends on what kind of red,
mhm,
right? So for me, I need to wear a bright, bold hue of red. It needs to be like a true red. And what it says about personality, so it's for me, it's directly linked because red is right. My brand colors are red, black, and white, and then a couple blues. So red, if you look at red with white and black, it's equally as far apart from white as it is from black. It's right in the middle. And the juxtaposition of red is that it represents passion as well as destruction, like peace, love, and war.
mhm.
So it represents both of those things. So there's a dichotomy with red. So it's showing those two different extremes. And that's just a big part of my own expression and what I see in things and how I express myself. So it just matches my personality. And then also, red is it can take up some of the energetic space for me as an introvert. I'm actually an introvert, a social introvert. So red is like attractive. It's very like, oh, red. She wears red. It's like, then I don't have to do as much talking.
Oh, okay.
So there's a few different pieces to it, but ultimately, color psychology plays a big part into it, and understanding who you are and attaching it to the color, and then of course the fabrication and the style. And we look at all those pieces, right? Like a lot of people, especially since the pandemic, have gone into allowing themselves to wear more comfortable fabrics and silhouettes. And surprise, surprise, that's what they wanted to be wearing all along,
Mm,
right? That's what
yeah.
they feel more comfortable in. Not everybody, some people want to go back to their more structured pieces because that's more defined of their personality.
Mhm. I used to wear just a lot of black and a lot of dark colors. And then last summer, I made a choice to like include color into my wardrobe. So I would
Mm-hmm.
wear, I mean, not today, but I bought some like white shirts and what else did I buy? Like colorful shorts that
Yeah,
weren't just black. Um,
yeah,
so I tend to feel like more comfortable and more like out my personalities out there almost.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's a way to talk without talking.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
a note on black. I wear a lot of black. So black can be very grounding, as it is for me, as I'm sure it is for you if you wear it quite often, or it can be very heavy, right? So if it feels heavy, then you want to wear more gray, navy, brown, that kind of thing.
What do you think about accessories?
Accessories. So accessories are great. Some people love them and some people just don't even think too much about them. I use them very intentionally. So I have no accessories on today. My day to day, I typically don't wear a lot of accessories. And it's, you know, it's really a personal preference. So when I go out and get dressed up, I'm going to wear more accessories. Some people will wear them every day, and having go-to accessories that they really love that help express themselves, or that they can mix and match with their specific pieces. So it's really, really easy just to, like, you have these specific pieces that you're going to wear, and then you just play around with whatever accessory you're feeling like that day. I think accessories can be very functional as well. So, you know, scarves are the obvious functional accessory. They're not as popular as they were maybe 5 years ago, but, you know, they can still serve a functional purpose and add a pop of color. But yeah, accessories, especially for men, like watches, or like if you're in a suit wearing something in your pocket, or socks are kind of an accessory for men, right? So all these things are really easy ways to express yourself.
Yeah, I was I went out last weekend, and I thought to myself, I need a chain or something to include in my outfit. And I see a lot of guys out there now wearing like chains and crosses,
like pocket chains, or like a necklace,
like the silver
chain.
necklace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Would you want more of a heavier one or a lighter one, or?
Probably a lighter one.
Yeah.
So. I guess it depends on the outfit and the day.
Maybe you have a couple options.
Right. So we were talking earlier about finding our authentic self. How do we even begin?
Oh, yeah. This is a journey. How do we even begin to find our authentic selves? This is such a good question. It starts within. So there has to be a willingness to go within and to do some self-reflection, right? So it's all about the inward outward expression. That's why, like, people typically know who they are once they come to me, but we continue to work with it and refine it. It's really about like making it that excellence that it is.
Kind of like you're willing to think outside the box.
Absolutely. I used to say all the time, step out of the box and into your style. It's
because sometimes we're like in that zone, and it's like I'm not budging.
Yeah. So there's perception there of like, oh, I need to show up a certain way because I'm this, whatever you fill in the blank.
Right.
That's not the case anymore. You actually just get to be you. And yes, there may be certain requirements or expectations of how you show up or present in certain situations, but you can still do that in a way that's authentic to you. You don't have to look like everybody else in the room.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I'll take a snapshot of like clothes that I see on Instagram, or someone like modeling, like a hat or a shoe or something like that. So, you know, and I do that so that maybe next time I go to the mall or I'm online or something and I want to buy it. But does that help in finding my authentic self, or is that copying someone else's image?
It's a good cue. So I actually recommend keeping those things in a Pinterest board. So keep collecting them, and then you can look at them all together. Whether you keep it on Pinterest or you have another way of doing it, doesn't really matter. But the idea is to keep them all together and to look to it for reference when you do go shopping. So it's not necessarily that you're copying, it's that you're getting inspiration. Yeah, and that's key. And a way to differentiate it is to look at it and say, do I want that because somebody else looks really good in it, or I think that's what I should be wearing, or do I want that because it really appeals to me and I think that it would actually represent me, right? Because when we actually know our style, trends come and go. Sometimes those trends match our style, sometimes they don't. When the trends match our style, we want to be buying more, right? Because they're not always going to be there. So if you have that reference of things that you were like, oh, that's appealing, really seeing the patterns, so keeping them together so you can see any patterns, and then asking yourself, do I just like that on somebody else? Or do I actually want to wear that? Do I actually feel like that would empower me? Because sometimes it's strictly because we see it on somebody else, and like the saying, sorry, like the saying, a woman wearing a dress or a man wearing a suit on the red carpet, for example, and if the outfit is wearing them versus them wearing the outfit. So do they shine, or are you seeing the outfit? Sometimes what we're seeing is that person looks really good in that outfit. That person is shining because it matches their style. It's totally aligned. And we want that. It's not necessarily that we want the outfit, it's that we want that alignment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I was thinking about, I keep seeing this meme, like it's like a fitness meme where you look in the mirror and you and yourself think you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, let's say, but you actually look like Homer Simpson. So when I think of, when I go shopping and I'm in the fitting room and I'm in the mirror, I think about, that Snapchat. I'm like, it looked different on that person than it does on me.
Exactly. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's all learning, right? It's like, oh, so what is it about this that I liked?
Exactly.
Maybe you really like that color or that style or the fabric or the way it hung or something.
Yeah. So I want to feel confident. What's your advice on the type of clothing I should be wearing every day to achieve this feeling?
Achieve confidence. So you need to be comfortable. First and foremost, comfort is a non-negotiable for me. If you are not comfortable, you are not going to feel confident. And comfort shows up differently for everybody, right? For some of us, it's wearing knits and soft fabrics. For other people, it's actually putting something more structured and form-fitting or put together. It can look put together regardless, but comfort is number one. And then the confidence, really, when you're able to identify with the pieces in some way, when they actually feel like you or they represent you and you're not trying to wear something that doesn't represent you. So that's a bit more convoluted. But that's, pay attention. One of the first things I started to do was I would look at things in my closet and be like, okay, I'm going to wear this piece that I've never worn and I haven't worn in a long time. And I don't necessarily understand why. It's a great piece. Why am I not wearing it? So I'm going to wear it today. And I'm going to pay attention to how it makes me feel. I'm going to pay attention to if it makes me more energized or if I want to take the thing off, right? But I allow myself to wear it and go through that exercise throughout the day, paying attention. And then by the end of the day, I know if I want to keep it or not.
Gotcha.
As opposed to just going through your closet and like getting rid of stuff. There's some gems in there. There's definitely some pieces that we don't wear that are perfectly matched for a style. We just don't wear them.
Yeah.
So going through that exercise, I find is really, really helpful. And then that's a good way to navigate what works for you and what doesn't. And so that's a good one. And then the comfort piece, and then confidence. Yeah. Then ultimately to get you to that point where you don't have to think about your clothes.
All good advice.
Right? Yeah.
So when it comes to seeking out a visibility coach, first, how would you describe a visibility coach? And are the people that come see you, are they young professionals? Are they retirees looking to, live their best life?
Yeah, a visibility coach is somebody who is probably have found themselves in a position that comes with visibility, whether they like it or not.
Gotcha.
Right? They're like, oh, I'm way more visible, and that looks like they have to go to more client meetings. They have to do videos for their business. They have to go to conferences and events. There's different types of visibility, but ultimately they are in front of people more, and they need to present themselves more. And they're typically the person who finds that exhausting. They are tired at the end of the day. They maybe don't quite know how they fit in. It's ultimately they're like, how do I show up here? I know who I am, but like sometimes talking about themselves they don't like talking about themselves, but they're also quite smart and can be seen as intimidating. Intimidating is something I've heard quite a few times from different people. So they come across as intimidating because they're smart, but they actually just don't know. It's like, how do I navigate these waters? And then how do I show up in a way that is authentic so it's not exhausting?
Yeah,
Right?
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you a couple of years ago? I remember like being on TV and like being on like your zone, and then at the end of the day, you're like, I'm so exhausted. I just wanted to be,
Exactly. Yeah, so doing that in a way, so going into those positions and those experiences in a way that you're not completely exhausted, it's still going to take energy, but it can be more energizing than exhausting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of health, tell us about some of the services and programs that you provide people through your company, Fashion for Life, and how can we connect with you?
Yeah, fashionyourlife.ca is my website, so that's the easiest way to contact me, or my Instagram, Fashion Your Life Official. My two main services, I have other things, but the two main things are visibility coaching and image architecture. So the visibility coaching is more the coaching, the virtual, coaching chats weekly, that kind of thing. Different packages are available there. I still customize it to the person because people have different needs. So if you've worked with a coach before, that could be a really good option. And then image architecture is where I go to people in person and work with them on their whole wardrobe. So whether it's going through your closet, taking you shopping, alterations, or even custom design.
Awesome. All right. Andrea, thank you so much for your time. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure talking with you. Continued success, and God bless you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for watching and for listening. This episode was written and produced by yours truly, Carlos Correa. Carlos Tonight theme by Skin Gallus. Visit carlostonight.com for the very latest on the podcast, see upcoming guests, and check out past episodes. That's carlostonight.com.